I'm James Skates. My nickname is Jim Skates. Today is December the 1st, 2018. It's Saturday evening. I'm going to talk about my sermonette is on. My sermonettes is on. My sermonettes are on Give God First, and is your net breaking? That's the question. Give God first, and is your net breaking? Read 1 Kings chapter 17, verses 8 through 16, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 18. Give God's first. Of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee, according to the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 22. The first part of this evening's Bible reading, the first part of this evening's Bible reading is a challenging story. If I had been the widow, would I have given this stranger the first cake made from that little bit of flour? That's the question. She proved that God would supply her needs if she honored him first. This evening's key verse is Jacob's promise to God when he was fleeing for his life. Jacob was alone in a lonely place, but God met him there and blessed him. A certain man gave great sums of money to the Lord's work, and someone asked, how could he afford it? He replied, I shoveled it out, and the Lord shovels it in, but he has a bigger shovel. Another man told a deacon that he wanted to put money in the offering, but he never had enough after all his bills were paid. The deacon said, for the next 6 months, when you get your paycheck, I want you to set aside at least 10% to put in the offering before you do anything else. If you then do not have enough for your bills, tell me and I'll give you what you need. Later, the man said or replied, I always have enough to pay my bills with more left than before. The second part of this evening's Bible reading is God's promise to those who do so. Many have found that if they first pay their bills, there's nothing left to give to the Lord. But if they give to the Lord first, there is always enough for the bills too, or also. Whether the income is $100 a week or $10,000, God will bless the one who gives him the first portion. Let us always put God first in our lives. It says in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33, it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things should be added unto you. You have food, water, clothing, shelter, and strength, etc., etc. He must be Lord of all, or he cannot be Lord at all. This is Jim Skates from his office in Centerville, Tennessee. You cannot take your riches along when you die, but you can send them ahead by giving to the work of the Lord. Now let us talk about, is your net breaking? That is the question. Is your net breaking? Read Luke chapter 5, verses 1 through 11, and John chapter 21, verses 1 through 14. Once again, I'm Jim Skates. It's December the 1st, Saturday evening, 2018. Is your net breaking? That is the question. It says in the book of Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, it says, prove me now herewith, I dare you, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. According to the book of Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, when Jesus told Peter to let down his net one more time, he complied, even though it appears that he did not expect much. We need to be waiting with expectancy. But soon his skepticism turned into amazement and then alarm. Suddenly, the fishermen had more than they could handle. Their net began to tear from the weight of the fish. No wonder Peter felt stricken for his unbelief. He had underestimated his master's ability to provide, like we do. We underestimate our master's ability to provide for us. I'm talking about God. God's our best friend. Later, we again find Peter and his friends fishing. Once more, it was a fruitless night. In the morning, as they were nearing the shore, a man told them to cast their net on the right side of the ship. They acted on the prompting, not knowing what their reward should be. This resulted in an extraordinary catch, and the disciples' minds instantly flashed back to that memorable day of the broken net. Immediately, they recognized the person who had spoken to them. Do you notice what was different this time? That is the question. And for all, there were so many, yet was not the net broken, according to the book of John, chapter 21, verse 11. the master confirmed his power as his servants acted in faith. What is the condition of our net? That is the question. Have we been holding out for a certain answer from God on our terms? That is the question. Sometimes our human expectations limit God's work. Other times the Lord's provision wears unsavory disguises illness, disappointment, or loss. And our nets tear as we strive to salvage our dreams. We forget that God can strengthen our nets. We forget that God can strengthen our nets to accept his sovereign will. Can we let down our nets in prayer and joyfully accept whatever God supplies? That is the question. Remember, he is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the book of Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 20. I'm Jim Skates, signing off at my office in Centerville, Tennessee. Man says impossible, but God says stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Thank you for listening to me attentively, and thank you very much. Peace out. We're super blessed.